Hey guys, welcome back to the 1v1 podcast. I am your host, Vlhadus. And if you kind of noticed I'm a little bit off or I look really tired, it's because I am. My guest here is 16-hour difference. He is on the opposite side of the world from me, but his name is Dante. He's actually good friends with another good friend of mine, Zillin. How's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good. Life's been busy, but yeah, it's going good. How about you? Yeah.
Uh,
Congratulations on your marriage, by the way. I completely forgot. Congratulations on your marriage.
oh yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for doing that. I mean, it was a great day. It was a great honeymoon. It was a great vacation. It was a lot of planning that's done that I don't have to worry about. My wife doesn't have to worry about. Um, yeah, like I'm just excited that it's over, but not in a mean way. It's just, I've never had to organize, and my wife, um bless her heart, she organized so much to where I just had to do the bare minimum, but even the bare minimum and just seeing her was just sort of like, I just felt bad. But it's done. I'm glad it's done. But so Dante, let's talk about you, man. Like, so let's talk about like what MMOs you've played before, like your gaming history, like, what brought you into the world of MMOs.
I think I was an only child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I've been interested in video games ever since I was young. I think one of the first video games that I was interested in was Age of Empires, which was like a real-time strategy game. So I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but when I was a kid, gamers used to be ostracized a lot, and not ashamed to say I was bullied a lot in school because I used to be that quiet kid who sat at the back, didn't really have a lot of friends, and then when I came home, I just used to play video games all alone as an only child, no siblings. So eventually, when I was old enough to browse the internet, the idea of playing video games with others and not just alone, that really appealed to me. So that is basically what got me into MMOs. Just the idea that I love playing video games, but now all of a sudden I don't have to do this alone anymore. I can do it with others. That is what attracted me.
Yeah, I mean, I did not come from a single child household, right? But I might as well have, because my older sister is 7 years ahead of me, and she's a girl. My younger sister is 10 years below me, and she's a girl. So I was the only guy, and I was the only gamer, like real gamer in the house. Like when I was 5 or 6, they got a Nintendo for me and my older sister, and she did play it with me from like, I don't know, when I was 6 to maybe like 8. But that was, like, she wasn't even like that much into it compared to me. Like I was on it probably 80% of the time, and she would play like 2-player games with me like maybe 20% of the time. Um, but yeah, like I totally understand that, and especially like if this is also coming in like the 2000s era, right? Like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
When it comes to the MMO side, that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I think that was the huge appeal for many people, especially in different countries. You know what I mean? Like honestly, it was a worldwide phenomenon, and it was something that really connected people. Like you could be playing with someone from Texas, you can be playing from someone like in England, you can be playing from other people like in your country, like in different parts that you've never been to. Like social media back then wasn't a thing. Like that's why I remember back in the late 90s, everyone was on like, the Yahoo chat rooms or like the AOL chat rooms playing like pool while simultaneously talking in a chat. Like, and I know probably like 20 something year olds are probably like, what, like, what are you talking about? But yeah, that's what it was back then. So like, what was the very first MMO that you played? Just curious.
The first MMO I played was Dota 2. I mean, it's not an MMORPG; it's a MOBA, but
Hmm.
it is an MMO. And
Right.
I wasted a lot of time in my years playing Dota 2. Emphasis on wasted. Seriously, don't play Dota 2.
Oh yeah, well, I've never played Dota 2. MOBAs to me weren't something that really attracted me. Because I mean, like StarCraft 2, right? That's a MOBA, right?
I think that's more like a real-time strategy.
or real-time strategy. Yeah, so I haven't really dove into, I don't think I've never really played a MOBA. So I've never, like, okay, so League of Legends, is that a MOBA? Or is that another
Oh
real-time?
yeah, yeah, yeah. League of Legends is a MOBA.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like I see that kind of gameplay for me personally, and I just don't think I'd be interested. Like I feel like
I mean,
it's just not for me.
I mean, look, this might be a bit of a personal question, but do you have any kind of nicotine addiction or alcohol addiction?
No, I don't do either.
Well, MOBA will give you one.
Yeah, like I've seen, man. I mean, there's over 130 million people who play League of Legends alone every month. Like it's like the game just stayed at this peak and just never dropped off. Like honestly, like I've never really looked up what League of Legends was at its inception, like at its actual peak. Like I don't know if it was like 200 million players worldwide or even higher. Like it's definitely possible. And we've always, like, you know, a lot of people always have a lot of faith more so in Riot, and that's why I think a lot of people are looking towards their MMO specifically, because they've done a lot of their games correctly comparatively to like other games. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, honestly, like I'm not really holding out hope for them, because I feel like even though Greg Street, who is the lead game designer of the Riot MMO, who was an ex lead game designer for World of Warcraft, I feel like they're still going to cater to the casuals. And again, that may be a game that I might like, but I don't think it's going to be a game that I would play, like dedicate my life to the way I did, like let's say like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, zealously. You won't play it zealously.
Yeah, it'll be a game that I'll play maybe, you know, every so often, if it's free to play too. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that, oh, like it may be free to play with a lot of cosmetics and stuff like that, but that's, I guess that's just a whole other story. But
I don't trust free to play MMORPGs. I just don't trust them.
I don't either. Like, but here's the thing too, I don't trust any like shareholder company. I don't care that it's Riot. I don't care that they have a track record of being good. Like I don't, because at the end of the day, they still have people to answer to, and I'm always leery and afraid of that one thing. And to me, it's like, look, if you want to have your faith in Riot, go right ahead. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to dissuade you. I'm just talking from me personally, of being, you know, bit one too many times by the corporate MMO, of being like, oh, like, you know, we're not going to really do play to win, but then they sneakily do play to win, or they do some like shady crap in the background that just is never good in the player's behalf. So I really, really, really hope that they, I don't know, they just stick to what they do, right? Which is make a good game. Don't have it pay to win. And we'll just go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like if I had to put up an analogy, I love analogies. Like getting an MMORPG from like a shareholder company is like getting a call from an insurance agent, right? But getting like a car insurance agent. But getting a free-to-play MMORPG, that's like getting a call from a car insurance agent and you don't even have a car. So you know it's kind of suspicious.
Oh, God. I like you, Dante. I like you. That was a
Thank
good
you,
one.
thank you. I like you too.
But so now going into Ashes, and again, like, so people were telling me that Lost Ark, as an example, is a privately traded company. They don't answer to shareholders, and yet their game is pay to win. And again, like I think that also stems from a completely different thing, right? You know, most people, when they make a large like game or company, they want it to be successful. And especially with the market right now, pay to win attracts players that are going to spend crap tons of money. I mean, we've seen it even with Diablo Immortal, we've seen it with World of Warcraft, and we're seeing it with Lost Ark. And the big difference that I would tell people is, you have a person in Steven Sharif who literally came from a game, I believe Lineage 2, that was egregiously pay to win, severely pay to convenience, and he was like, fuck this, I am so sick and tired of having to answer to this pay to win bullcrap. I don't want this. And stemmed his whole hatred to create a company and an MMO to completely stray away from that. So for me, it's like, look, I don't know the guy that came up with, the private company of Lost Ark, but again, he was probably like, oh, I want to make a lot of money, and then his smarter people are saying, well, if you want to make a lot of money, should you pay to win? And and that's what they're doing, and it's great. You know what I mean? But at the same time, at least they're still making, from what I hear, like a good end game experience for the people who can participate in it. But again, it's still barriered by like item level that you have to pay. Otherwise, you're going to be there for months trying to break through that barrier, which doesn't feel good when someone can just pay their way through it.
Yeah, true. But to be completely honest, I can't really comment much on Lost Ark because it's IP banned in my country. I've never actually played Lost Ark.
Wow.
Uh,
Is it IP banned because of the pay to win?
no, 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 no. It's just the devs of Lost Ark just didn't give it to us. Like
Oh,
if you try to go to Lost Ark in Steam, it's just not there. And secondly, while a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, I don't see Steven Sharif as a human being. I see him as like the culmination or the amalgamation of all the frustration that's been built up by the MMORPG player base the last few years, and I fucking love him for it.
oh, dude. Yeah, me too. And that was the thing. Like, how I found out about Steven and also Ashes of Creation was during the when I was watching Asmongold in July of 2020 when he was going over Lazy Peon's video of Ashes of Creation. I never heard of Ashes of Creation up until that point. And then Steven just PMs him on Discord or something like that, and then just has like a full-blown interview like right then and there after he watched that video. So I got, as a viewer, to see the amazing Lazy Peon video in its entirety, and then the lead game designer and also founder of the company talked to Asbin, and he was talking to him in such a way that just felt like he's a gamer. Like he was cussing every now and then. The way his
He was one of
speech,
us.
yeah, like he just felt like a gamer. Like he didn't feel like some corporate suit person. And I think that was the other thing that just really related to me. And I just I needed to know more. So then I started watching like some of the monthly live streams. And then I was like, man, this sounds way too good to be true. And again, this is also me completely jaded from World of Warcraft. So it's like I wanted to believe, but it took so much of me to like really, really, really come around. It took me almost a year to finally do it, because also I was knee deep in WoW. But then after the allegations and everything from July of 2021, I just kind of like, fuck it. Like I'm done. And then I really went into Ashes of Creation at that point. I started like watching all the live streams back from 2017 all the way to 2022. And it was just end of story for me, basically. I don't know. How did you find out about Ashes of Creation, Dante?
Well, would you like the short story or would you like the longer story with the analogy?
Let's do the analogy. I mean, we are on a podcast, right? So
All right. So imagine, if you will, in a hypothetical situation, as Ben Shapiro likes to put it, that you're in a very toxic relationship, right? She doesn't treat you well. She's mean to you. She's rude to you. She doesn't appreciate the effort you put in. But you don't want to break up with her because of the sunk cost fallacy. You already spent like 6 years with her, and you don't want to let that go all to waste.
or
So
15.
one day, yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
15. But for me, it was more like 6.
Oh, okay.
So one day, you go to like this cafe and you meet this really cute waitress, and it's like love on first sight, right?
Yeah.
And you like her, you find her really cute, really pretty, and she likes you too. Like she's giving off all the signals that she likes you. I mean, I don't know what those signals are. Women tend to run away from me at the sight of me, but let's assume there are signals, and she's giving them off.
Right.
So she likes you. So then the first thing you do is break up with your toxic girlfriend and start to get to know her better. So that was basically it for me. except in this case, the toxic girlfriend was Elder Scrolls Online, the cafe was Lazy Peon's video on Ashes of Creation, and the waitress was Ashes of Creation. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like that. So I spent like 6 years on Elder Scrolls Online, 12,000 hours in it in Steam, and yeah, I'm done with that. Never want to touch that again.
Wow. So you played ESO for almost 7 years.
Yeah, almost 7 years, I think. Ever since it was available on Steam, I played it until like early 2020.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's a very similar story to me. I mean, the whole beaten dog analogy, like I'm still a beaten dog because I'm playing classic WoW. Like, and the only reason why I'm playing is because, I like to say the excuse that because I think it's a good one, because it is. But I'm actually teaching my wife how to play an MMO because she wants to play Ashes. And for as many people that I know and all the knowledge that I know for myself, Ashes to me doesn't really seem like a good first person friendly MMO to start out with. Ashes seems like an MMO that is for MMO people that know MMOs and that have played MMOs. So I'm trying to teach my wife all of the MMO tropes, like how to level, how to move. When you level up, like you're gonna get new abilities, where to place them on the bars, how to start feeling out your keyboard. Like all these things that I think, for me are kind of like breathing at this point because I've done it for so long. But to her, it's a lot. You know what I mean? Like to start out as an MMO, it is a lot of information. So I know WoW very well. So for me, it was just a no-brainer to be like, hey, I didn't want to show her retail WoW because that's a freaking clown town, but classic WoW at least still has danger, and the mobs are still, like, in my opinion, more dangerous than retail. So there's a level of danger, and that's the thing I'm trying to show her too, is the fact that even with just me and her, and then I have another friend of mine that also plays with us, like stuff is still challenging. There's been times where she's died because she got away from us, and you know what I mean. I told her, I was like, babe, you got to stay next to us. You know what I mean?
She was standing on the fire.
No. She just got away. Like she was just a little further back, and then mobs just patrolling back and forth, just body pulling, and she's trying to get away, and they're just hitting her from the back, and But it's that's the things. Like I'm trying to show her and teach her these things, and so that way she understands. Like oh, okay, like I have to, like when I'm going somewhere, I'm trying to follow people, like I have to be wary of like my surroundings, where certain mobs are. Am I too close? Should I try to stray away instead of just going in a straight line? Just all these little things, right? But it's actually been a lot of fun. Like I never thought in my wildest dreams that I myself as a gamer would marry someone who wasn't a gamer and was willing to try it. I never.
Yeah, that's true love.
I know. That's why I married her because she's always been that way. She's always seen like the kind of passions that I have. Like even with my, like I think you're the first person that I'm going to tell this. So my 1v1s, like she is going to edit my 1v1s into short form bits of content so I can post on like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and I'm probably going to make a whole separate YouTube channel for it as well. And she wants to do that. She's like, 'cause she watches all my 1v1s, and she was just like, and she's really big into TikTok. Like she loves TikTok. So she was just like, she's like, babe, like, have you ever just like wanted to like just bring your 1v1s and cut them up? And she's like, I'll do it for you. And I was like, God, okay, thank you.
That sounds amazing. Can I ask you for a favor though?
Yeah.
Could you ask the missus to cut the section where you tell me that I'll be the first person to hear it, and then set it off on TikTok? It'll really make me feel special and just feed my ego.
Yes.
I want the entire community to know that I'm special.
I'll tell her. I'm pretty sure she's hearing this. She probably will start laughing, and we'll convince her. We'll convince her. But so let's talk a little bit about this game, right? Ashes of Creation. So whenever you ended that toxic relationship, and thank God you did, how deep did you go into that rabbit hole?
Incredibly. All right. So basically, back when I was playing, there were like 5 classes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the European PC server.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as this is gonna sound like a boast, I can confidently say I was one of the top Nightblades of my server. The Nightblade was the class that I played, and I was one of the top Nightblades in my server with a constant ping of 350 plus because I play in the European server from Asia. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine what I could have done if I had to play with like 100 ping.
Wow.
So yeah, I was good. It was entirely experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing about Elder Scrolls Online, what I didn't like about it is that I believe that it's perfectly fine for an MMORPG to be casual friendly. Most MMORPGs are, especially the popular ones. However, at one point, you sort of have to draw the line to divide casual friendly and casual focused. And as the years went by, Elder Scrolls Online started to slowly become casual focused,
Mm-hmm.
where it started to reward people who spend like maybe 6 hours playing it a week, and started to penalize people who played it like 6 hours a day, how I did,
Right.
4 to 6 hours a day. And that really turned me off. Like, they would give off these updates where I would spend like hours on a training dummy trying to, perfect my rotation. And then every 3 months, they'd come up with a patch which would, nerf all of the attacks that required a perfect notation that had like a higher skill floor. And I felt like I was constantly getting punished rather than rewarded for playing the game more than less. So it was that casual focused approach that Elder Scrolls Online took, which really turned me off. And don't get me wrong, Elder Scrolls Online is a fantastic game. It's a fantastic RPG with co op elements. I don't think it's a good MMORPG.
Okay. Um, my brain is still kind of adjusting to like being. Did I ask you about Elder Scrolls or did I ask you about Ashes? Because I feel like I may have asked you about Elder Scrolls, but I was meaning Ashes. I'm sorry if I.
I'm sorry. I have what is commonly referred to as goldfish memory.
Oh, I'm also referred to as not a morning person. So I was just thinking, did I ask about Elder Scrolls? But no, I mean, well, here's my thing. Like, I actually did try Elder Scrolls. And what I mean by try, like, I downloaded it. I played from 1 to like level 10, and I just didn't like it.
Hmm.
It just,
Oh yeah, I just remembered you asked about the rabbit hole. How deep I was in the rabbit hole in Elder Scrolls Online. See, we're smart people.
oh, okay. So I meant to say, how far over the rabbit hole did you go down to Ashes? That's what I meant to say, but I
I
probably said with my mouth the other thing. So yeah,
Well,
sorry.
pretty deep, pretty
Okay.
friggin' deep, pretty friggin' deep. So, basically, well, obviously, as you've previously mentioned, I'm halfway across the world, right? So during the COVID pandemic, I'm a university student.
Okay.
So during the COVID pandemic, I didn't really need to have like a proper sleeping schedule because I just do classes from home. I didn't have to like wake up early in the morning to go do classes. So I would like stay up all night watching Ashes of Creation live streamers stream in Twitch just to hear what they were talking about, like
Wow.
Zillin, 10 Man, Paradox Gaming Network, Merc, the two guys in a bar. But, ever since the pandemic ended and I started having to do live classes, I haven't really been able to watch them as much because
Mm,
12-hour difference.
right. No, I know that. I mean, that, especially when everybody, is there any European Ashes streamers or anybody that just like talks Ashes that's like on that side of the, like in Germany or like you that
I
you know
don't
of?
really know about German ones. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of European ones, but I thought Bartik was European, isn't he?
No, he lives in Colorado.
Ah, okay. I don't know, man. It was his beard. His beard is really
Yes.
like a Viking Nordic beard. I love Bartik's beard.
Yeah, no, he has a pretty epic beard. I don't hope he hasn't shaved it. It's been a minute, but
I'd be very disappointed if he did.
I know. No, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Especially because like he works at a brewery, so it just makes sense to just to have a beard. Like, come on, and he has an epic one at that. But yeah, like I know with Ashes, right? There is a lot of American interest, but I definitely know there is a lot of outside of American interest as well. I mean, I know there's people that make videos in Mexico. I've seen German videos on like the Ashes Discord. I've seen French videos. I've seen, numerous videos of other languages talk about Ashes of Creation. And it's one of those things that, I even know Lazy Peon was asking for Asian servers. Like he advocated that on his most recent
Yeah, a
video.
funny story. I actually knocked him in Discord, begging him to ask for that in his video, and he was like, "Dude, you knocked me at a pretty good time because I was just writing the script for my video, because I live
What?
in Asia too." Yeah.
Oh my
Uh,
God, that's awesome.
I actually knocked him in Alpha 1 because, as far as I'm aware, of course I might be wrong, but I think the two of us were like the only people from Asia in Alpha 1. I don't know if anybody else from Asia who was in Alpha 1.
Wow. That's really cool, man. And again, like I think with Ashes and how big they want to go, like I am pretty sure like once they get down to like really nailing down certain other country servers, like Asia Pacific just sounds like something they're just gonna do. You know what I mean? Like it's like the other thing too that a lot of people say, right, is the whole like voice acting, right? Like, oh, is Ashes gonna have voice acting? If Steven keeps touting that he wants to make the next MMORPG, like the next big MMORPG, you can't say that if you're not going to try to do voice acting. You know what I mean? And I understand maybe it was the budget early on that he couldn't say that, he couldn't commit to saying that. But I think as we've moved on and how many people have signed up for packages and how much interest is going to really be there, I really feel like they can do probably more voice acting than they initially intended. But again, you have a company like Riot. Do you think Riot's not going to do voice acting? Of course they're going to do full-blown voice acting. It's Riot. You know what I mean? And I feel like you can't say like you're going to make the next evolution of an MMORPG and not have something as basic as voice acting. And people can say that, oh, voice acting is really expensive and everything like that. And I think also like there are a lot of ways to do voice acting today that is way more feasible than it was back then. So there's a lot of people that would willing to do it for free. You know what I mean? But again, I know you get what you pay for, right? So free, doesn't necessarily mean good. But hell, like for how picky they've been trying to hire workers is how picky they can be for voice acting as well. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to the whole voice acting part. But
Mhm.
whenever you were looking into Ashes of Creation, like what was the main like thing of what really attracted you to that project?
I think the main thing that attracted me, number one, was the no pay to win stance that they took.
Very
And number
important.
two was the fact that it looked like a game which would reward the sweaty grinders far more than the casuals. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like, all right, this is the game where if I spend 6 hours a day playing this, they won't punish me for it. They will reward me for it. And that is one of the things that attracted me the most about Ashes, because in the modern day, there aren't really that many MMORPGs out there where, playing the game gives you a clear advantage over people who don't play the game and just use their wallet instead.
That's very true. I mean, compared to WoW, I mean, WoW kind of limits you like per day. Um,
Hmm.
I really can't speak to Lost Ark as much as the end game because I really didn't stick around because once I noticed or started to really hear rumblings of a barrier, I was like, I ain't gonna do this. Like, screw this. So I was just like, like the one thing is I feel like so many people want to invest their time into a game that doesn't exist. Like every person I know in Axiom are like fiending to play Ashes because they know that's a game they're going to be able to really sink their time into. And there's just not other games that you can do that. You know what I mean? Yes, you can probably do that in the leveling process, right? But once you get to end game, like you're going to do a couple of hours to do something and then you're done, right? You can't farm that currency anymore, or you can't do those things anymore, and it's just the gameplay loop shuts you down until tomorrow. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I feel like with Ashes and how many systems that there's going to be for interaction and gameplay, it's immense. And the fact that Ashes is also going to have gameplay that you yourself can create. Like, I think, especially for streamers, Ashes of Creation is going to be a streamer's dream game to stream. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to not only provide gameplay loops that are going to be really fun for viewers, but it's also going to provide drama. And drama, if you're a Twitch streamer, is the golden ticket of content.
Yeah, and there's also the fact about there's the interest of, okay, what's going on in that part of the world. You know what I mean? Like, let's say Asmongold and Esfand are streaming and they're playing in like the same server, but they're on entirely different parts of the world, right? So
Right.
people are gonna want to watch their stream and know, okay, so what's going on in Asmongold's part of the world in that server, and what's
Right.
going on in Esfand's part of the world in that server.
Right.
And it's going to, I feel like it's going to feel really awesome when at one point their two parts of the world somehow collide, and that's going to bring in a lot of viewers as well, so there is also that aspect.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, think of the very first Castle Siege or Node Siege. Like, I feel like that on Twitch, whoever is the streamer that's going to be a part of that is going to be huge. Like, that's going to be such a momentous occasion, because again, like, people are really going to see and witness the very first 250 versus 250 like Castle or Node Siege, and it's going to be awesome to see who wins and also who loses. And I don't know, like, I think it's those kinds of things of what's going to make Ashes like a game that's going to be worth streaming, but also worth continuing to play, because other games, like I said, they just don't have that longevity for a streamer's attention to really, like, yeah, they'll do the leveling process, they'll do some of the end game content, but then they just kind of struggle to find good stream content,
interesting stuff. Yeah,
just
things
good.
to keep the audience's attention. Like, how long did
Right.
I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is an amazing game, but how long did Asmon play it after he finished everything, right?
Right. Well, technically, he hasn't finished everything yet. I think he's still at Stormblood. I think he still needs to do Stormblood, and he also hasn't even gone into Shadowbringers yet or Endwalker. So, but again, all he's been really doing is just the raids and the story. That's it. Like,
And don't forget about the chocobos.
oh, right, and all the golden saucer stuff, which honestly has been really, really entertaining. Like, I loved watching him do all that stuff. But again, like, I feel like some games just have like a finite like amount of content, and it's like, once you know what feels good, you have to like really adjust your stream to accordingly, to making sure that you don't like go through all that content so quickly, because now you have no content after that, because then it's just gonna be rinse and repeat of the same content, and you're just gonna be stuck in that gameplay loop. All right, so like, did you watch this latest stream of Ash's creation, this August live stream?
I watched Narc reacting to it, and I watched Asmongold reacting to Narc reacting to it, but I didn't watch the live stream itself.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure, because I think Narc in that video did explain what happened, because there were some major changes. Of course, the map tripled in size, so it went from 480 square kilometers to 1200. The naval stuff, there's going to be a safe zone at the coast, but then once you get up into the open sea, everyone will be flagged combatant for PvP. The other change, I think, is for the caravans. I have a video coming out later today, because we're recording this on 9/1 at 10 a.m. for the caravan specifically, and the changes that happen for the caravans, where you're going to have a basic node building called the caravansary, and that's where you're going to create and be able to put your caravan out in like a 360 map of where you want your caravan to be constructed in a kind of secret location, and you and your party members will be able to teleport once the construction of that caravan starts. So that way there's not a procedural way that's robotic and super, like, easy to spot, right? Oh, a person's doing a caravan run, let's just wait outside until he passes, like, and it's the same way in every node. Like, I thought that was going to be such a bad way to do it, but clearly they've been internally testing and figured out, yeah, that is a crappy way to do it, let's do it this other way. So that's also really, really good. They also are adding node policies, which is basically like node buffs, like node ZOI buffs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so that's really cool. They're adding like a happiness system for citizens of a node. um I don't know, like everything that I saw from this live stream, it really just gave me vibes that they are way further along than we think they are. I don't know if you got the same kind of feeling, or if you've had that same kind of feeling, or maybe because, we all want to play Ashes so bad that you're probably not even thinking about that because you're just waiting for it to be, concretely, affirmed by Steven that A2 is launching on this date. So that way you're not just overhyping yourself, right?
Well, I always like to take a pessimistic approach in life. That way I can never be disappointed,
It's a very
even
good way
though
to do
life still finds a way to disappoint me occasionally.
it. Right.
But yeah, because of my pessimism, I don't know if Ashes is closer to completion than it looks like it. I mean, sure, I hope so, but I don't expect it. And
Right.
it's sort of like the same with another subject that you brought up previously about the voice acting.
Hmm.
Like, I'll be happy if Ashes does have voice acting, but at the same time, my expectations, I don't know if you should call it expectations, it's more like, the meter to not disappoint me is incredibly low. It's like incredibly low. Like, I don't need top tier voice acting. I don't even need like generic voice acting. Like, for me, anything you ever played Minecraft?
I played for like all of like the 15 minutes, but it
Okay,
just again wasn't a game that I was interested in.
you ever met one of those NPCs in Minecraft called the Illagers?
I don't think so.
All right, so that's basically my parameter, or my minimum threshold. Like, as long as
Okay.
Ashes is as good as or better NPCs than the ones in Minecraft in terms of voice acting,
Hmm.
I'm okay with it. Like, if you see a NPC in Ashes and you go interact with them or talk to them, and then they just make like a Minecraft villager noise, they go like, "Huh," I'm that's enough for me.
And I think for like the hardcore people, um, there. Well, it's kind of hard to say that. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I've seen on Reddit, I've seen on the forums where even a lot of the people that have bought into it are just like really upset that voice acting, isn't going to be, a thing in Ashes. But again, I feel like that's really a hard stance. Like, just because Steven said it doesn't mean that they can't change their minds, or like I said, with this updated live stream, they did a lot of changes, even to the vassal structure of how vassal nodes get done. They could change their minds. And again, also too, money is very important for making your business go well. And I think back then they were like, oh, we don't have the budget for voice acting, but maybe they do now, and maybe it's something they're considering now. Like, we don't
Who
know,
knows?
like,
Yeah.
who knows? Yeah. So I guess all I'm trying to do is just keep an open mind. And I feel like I do have more copium and hopium than most people, but I want to believe. I've lived a life of pessimism and the life of toxicity and WoW for so long that I'm trying a different approach. I'm trying to be more optimistic, because if I'm disappointed, okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take it so personally, but I'm trying to look at Ashes in this sense of like hope and optimism for a change. You know what I mean?
Understandable. Yeah.
And it's just because, like I said, like, I've lived that life of pessimism and it sucked. And it's nice actually looking forward to these live streams and hearing this information and hearing Steven still very passionate about his project and about the game and these changes. I don't know. I look forward to it every time. And it's I don't know if you heard this, but in September, the Ranger reveal is
Ah, yeah,
going.
yeah, I heard that. And
Yeah.
the rumors are he's gonna be fighting a Minotaur.
Yeah, Minotaur. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be, man, and those concept art of the Minotaur looks so good. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it does.
that's the one thing I love about Ashes of Creation's art team is, God, art to me is so important. And people were saying originally that, oh, it's such a mistake to do like a hyper realism MMO. Like, they should be more stylized. I love the fact they're going realistic, in my opinion. Because we have the technology now with Unreal Engine 5 to do realism pretty freaking well. I mean, have you not seen like the Matrix like Unreal Engine 5 teaser or whatever they
Yeah, I've
did?
seen that.
That looks insane. Like, we can definitely do realism well now in 2022. Maybe not back in 2010 or 2005, but now, yes, we have the technology to do it well. So sorry, I'm like, my brain is, I'm trying to think like, what should we talk about now, because like
Oh, no need to apologize. I get it. And as for the hyper realistic visual style thing, I just want to point
right,
out, to me personally, hyper realistic is a bit of a double-edged sword, because
right,
if you go for like a stylized visual style, graphics,
right,
it's easy to eventually improve it as technology goes forward, and that's pretty clear with WoW. Like, WoW has a pretty stylized graphic style,
right,
and if you compare the graphics of classic WoW to modern WoW, you can see that there's a lot of improvement.
right,
Hyper realistic, on the other hand, it doesn't usually, uh it's harder to improve, and it doesn't age quite as well. Although the aging problem, I don't think is going to be an issue because of how good Unreal Engine 5 is.
right.
I feel like, if Intrepid ever decides, all right, we're gonna do a graphics overhaul, we're gonna try to make our game look better like 5 or 6 years from now, they're gonna have an insanely hard time to do so. So like, if that, and it this is a pretty big if a better looking MMORPG than Ashes comes out in like 4 or 5 years, Ashes is gonna have a hard time to exceed them because of their choice of hyper realistic graphics.
See, and that's where I disagree. I guess the only reason why I disagree is because with Unreal Engine 5 and how popular that platform is for creators and designers, if they continue to go to Unreal Engine 6 or whatever, and there are ways to make certain art pieces better, or even character models or foliage or environments and all that, not only easier to implement but also easier to upgrade and produce like a higher level of fidelity, while also simultaneously keeping frame rate intact, performance and all that other stuff. I think it's actually going to be quite easy to go from like a 1.0 version of Ashes to like a 2.0 version of Ashes, where there is maybe not such a stark difference between, like, let's say a classic WoW to retail WoW, but it is going to provide that higher fidelity and that higher like where you can notice like a difference. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you're probably right, because I don't really know much about Unreal Engine 5. Like, my argument wasn't specifically about Ashes, it was specifically about stylized graphics versus hyper realistic graphics.
right. And again, I probably would agree with you if we were living in like 2010, because I feel like it was always the uncanny valley. Every time they tried to do hyper realism, like look at God of War, right? The original God of War from PlayStation 2. Like there is a stylization there, but they also were trying to do something that was like real human, and everything like that. And as they were going on in their titles, you can clearly see that they were trying to do like a more realistic approach, and it's gotten better and better and better. So I just think the technology needed to kind of get to the times, and I feel like we're kind of there. Like I feel like the next step in this evolution, like if you look at the Unreal Engine 5 presentation of like the Matrix demo, how much further can we go in provide?
I don't think we can.
But that's my point, is like if we can't, then really it's going to be going into like VR, or making like our brains into like a Sword Art Online kind of approach. But if that is the case and we are at that limit, then that means that we can start fine-tuning those limits to make performance better, to make it easier to upgrade, to make it easier to manipulate, easier to implement. And I think that is probably the best possible way to be, especially if you're a game like Ashes.
Yeah, true. It doesn't matter how good your game is. If it's not optimized enough to run on my 1060,
Exactly.
I don't care.
And I think that's really gonna be, because people like are saying like, well, what's Unreal Engine 6 gonna be? To me, I feel like that's what Unreal Engine 6 is going to be. It's going to be kind of like an overhaul to make what you are seeing still as gorgeous as possible, but now Like, you can play like probably like a pretty generic graphics card and be able to play it way more efficiently, because they're
Mm-hmm.
making the actual engine more efficient for the times, because we already gotten to the limit of graphical fidelity. Now we need to get to the point of having the performance be as good as the graphics, on a basic standard card. You know what I mean? So that to me is where the real beauty of Unreal Engine is probably going to go. And again, they probably could implement even further like visual styles of like skyboxes and just a whole different array of things to make it really cool for like the toolbox to use for like creators like Intrepid or other studios as well. Um, so let me ask you this, Dante, because I know this has been a big debate. We were talking about this literally yesterday. We were talking about casuals and how I personally advocate for casuals, in the sense of what we were talking about a little bit earlier when you said that it was, I forgot the phrase you used.
Casual friendly versus casual focused.
Yes, there you go. So I want this game to be casual friendly. And but I don't want every system to be focused on the casual. But however, when I try to explain Ashes of Creation, as soon as I say like there is going to be a form of like open world PvP that you can't opt out of, people just immediately be like, oh, okay, no, that's probably a game I won't play. Like I or is there PvE servers? Like, no, the Ashes doesn't work that way. It's like, oh, if there's PvP, I probably won't play. Like, just that one thing, like, alienates a lot of people. But Steven has said this game is not going to be for everybody. But I understand and I really love that statement, but I think that's also a statement that kind of can be a little bit disingenuous, because will he still be saying that if we have 20,000 people every month playing and we're like New World?
I mean, I don't know, but honestly, it is a concern. Which it's one of those things. It's like Schrodinger's problem. We won't actually know if it's an issue or not until the game is either launches or is at least in beta, until we find out if it's a problem, and if it is, how big a problem it is. If it's a problem, I'm hoping that Intrepid finds a solution to it. But yeah, that is definitely a anti-casual system in Ashes of Creation. The PvP, the fact that you can't opt out of it, it is definitely not newbie friendly. But at the same time, the corruption system is there
Right.
to, like, if I was someone who's out in the world trying to gather materials, and if I see someone who's gathering the same materials I want, and they're taking all my materials, I will be the first one to attack them, and I'm gonna try my best to get them to at least half HP. But then if they still don't fight back, and I figure out that, okay, this is probably the kind of person who's like a casual, doesn't like PvP, I want to be red. I'm gonna stop attacking them, and I'll be like, okay, you know what, you're a casual, you're willing to lose more materials rather than PvP, so I'll just give you this one. I play like 6 hours a day, you probably play around one or two. I'll let you grab these materials, and when they respawn, I'll be here. So I'm hoping this is the approach most people are going to take. Just be patient and wait rather than kill those green casuals and get corruption. So I'm hoping this system is enough, but again, there is no way of knowing whether this system is enough to prevent the casual care bears, as you would refer to them, from dying.
Well,
So I'm hoping it is.
I mean, here's my thing, right? I feel like Alpha 2 isn't going to be a really good representation of what the game is really going to be. And the reason why is because whenever you're testing a game, you play very irregular, right? It's very different whenever you are in the live game comparatively to like a testing area.
Mhm.
And I feel like the people that are going to be killing people and not caring is going to be really quite high in Alpha 2. And I feel like a casual looking at alpha testing is going to be very scared. Like, there is a shit ton of people killing each other in the open world. Like, this is a game I am probably not going to play. But that's probably not going to happen in the live environment once you actually start playing your real character with your real gear and your real progress. Yes, there probably are going to be people that are going to PvP and kill people because of the same situation you brought up. But I think it's going to be fewer and far between than people think. And I think that's the thing that kind of like, I'm not going to say it bothers me, but I feel like Alpha 2 just isn't going to be a really good representation of how people are really going to play when the game actually launches. Because, like with Asmongold, Tim the Tapman, Shroud, like all of these huge streamers that are probably going to be playing Ashes when, or in Alpha 2, to some extent, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to watch those streams and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to play it. But I think also if they continue to watch, this is another thing that I've said, if they continue to watch till the live game and they watch like a month or 2 months, the game's live at this point, that they'll be like, oh, like I remember seeing Tim get constantly ganked and constantly getting jumped or whatever. And now he's not. And, like it's already like a month and a half into the game. I feel like Ashes could literally be the first game to literally have an upward trajectory in population instead of a downward trajectory because of all of the things that are happening. Like,
I agree.
Okay.
And I know this is gonna sound hypocritical of me to say, since I already announced that I'm a pessimist, but I am optimistic that people who watch Ashes of Creation and Twitch are gonna be smart enough to realize that Alpha 2 of Ashes, it is still a developmental alpha and is nowhere near an accurate representation of what the live game will be like. Now, I know not everybody is gonna be like that. Some people are gonna be like, oh, so this is it, this is Ashes. But I'm hoping most people are going to realize that that's not what Ashes is going to be like. I'm really hoping that that's my hopium.
Right.
And plus, a lot of content creators, specifically Asmongold, do tend to speak out in support for Ashes. Like I remember his Alpha 1 live stream, a lot of his audiences were complaining that there isn't much to do and stuff. And Asmongold would constantly remind his audience that, guys, this is a test alpha, this is a developmental alpha, we're just testing the system, there isn't supposed to be a lot of content in this game. So
Right.
I'm hoping he continues to do that, and
Right.
the other content creators test out Alpha to also pick up on that.
Right. I mean, I think there's always that level of responsibility to be transparent to your stream, right? And I think that's why Steven had that brick of text whenever you logged into Alpha 1 and how this was a technical alpha test. This was more of a foundational test to test like back-end networking to see like, world stability and stuff like that. It wasn't meant to be a content test. Like that wasn't the whole, that wasn't the point of Alpha 1 at all. But from Alpha 1, it looks like their networking side has gotten better. Steven mentioned this again in this upcoming live stream that, the networking side of things has gotten better. And, they feel pretty confident that the stability and also like the whole like maybe 252 versus 250 isn't a pipe dream after all. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm personally really looking forward to like the Alpha 2. I hope that there are not, I wouldn't say expectations, but I really hope that people, especially content creators, can really rein in their audience when it comes to like, the example you're giving from Asmongold. But when I looked at New World, when New World was in its testing phase, or in its beta, it wasn't really at a testing phase at that point, but I mean, it kind of was.
I thought New World was still in beta.
I mean, it basically is. It really is. And that's my whole point. That game has been launched since what? Since 2020 or 2021? I can't remember.
It's kind of sad we have New World and not Lost Ark. I'm pretty sure all Asians would, swap that out. Like, take New World, give us Lost Ark. We'd rather have a pay-to-win game with content than, a game without content.
Yeah, I feel really bad for the people that play New World. I mean, my whole thing, because honestly, like, they deserve better. Like, we as an MMO community deserve better. And I think that's why Steven and Intrepid are willing to take the time to make this game the best it can possibly be. Because let's just be honest, right? Like when Lazy Peon did his recent update video for Ashes of Creation, he did something that I did as well, which is listing how long it takes to make an MMO. Now, World of Warcraft took 5 years to make. New World took 5 years to make. Clearly it
5
was,
years in running, it's still not made, in my opinion.
well, exactly my point. That's exactly what I tell people. Just because a game came out in 5 years doesn't mean it was ready to be released in 5 years. I can put a chicken in the oven in 7 minutes, you know, at like 350 degrees. It doesn't mean it's gonna be like edible in 7 minutes.
Wait,
You know what I mean?
hold up. You guys cook chickens in ovens?
I mean, for like Thanksgiving and stuff. Yeah. What do you do? Deep
Hmm.
fry yours? What do you do?
No,
Barbecue?
no, we cook it. We cook it like with masala and stuff. Bangladesh. We're in the Indian subcontinent. This is where all the spices come from.
Oh yeah. Well, that's how we do it for Thanksgiving. But I mean, I guess my whole point is like when it comes to like it being a finished and ready to ship product, that's the big thing, is that most MMOs are never really done. And here's my thing. I'm not saying it needs to be 100% completed with all the little shiny details and blah, 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 blah. But it needs to be at a point where the bugs are almost non-existent and all of the systems and endgame systems are functional and completed. That, it to me, is what I think people deserve. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be balancing issues. There's going to be classes that may be a little bit overpowered. There's going to be some tuning passes, and that's expected. But to look at the kind of atrocity that New World went through with all of the duping, the auction house bugs, the movement bugs, the world bugs, like, that was just completely unacceptable. And the other,
Yeah, it wasn't. To me, New World wasn't a game with a lot of bugs in it. It was just a lot of bugs with a bare semblance of a game in it.
well, and that's also very true, because the other big problem was there was no end game. What, all you were supposed to do when New World launched was just chest run? Like, are you kidding me? Like, who in their right mind thought this was a game loop worth playing? I don't know. Like, and again, I feel like they didn't have either foresight, or they did have foresight, but their powers that be, because again, publicly traded company, shareholders want their money, were forcing them to rush it out. And honestly, I think that's the case. I think the devs at New World are passionate about making a great game. The only people that aren't are the people that want to make money. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I get what you mean, and I can't find anything to disagree with you. It's just that when I played New World, it felt like I was playing an MMORPG made by people who either don't love MMORPG or don't know what makes MMORPGs special.
Right. And again, I'm not saying that, you know, I mean, there could be some talent that, you know, needs to be adjusted probably in their team, but I feel like the people there are passionate. It's just whenever you're given a time limit, it's like if a person gave you a task that is impossible, it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you were working at a job and they said, you know, bake this chicken in 7 minutes or else,
I'd quit.
Exactly. Like, and you're either going to quit or you're going to do exactly what they said. And then when they complain about why are players unhappy, they're going to be like, it's because you did this. You forced us to make this product the way it was in the time frame you gave us, and this is the end result. We asked for more time. We asked for extensions or whatever the case is. You guys didn't give it to us, so reap the rewards, guys. This is the product.
It's like a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Except for No Man's Sky. I don't know how they did that.
Well, it's because they understood where the players were coming from and decided to buckle down and give every single like feedback that was given and address it almost like one by one, and just literally put their noses to the grinder and work.
Like, No Man's Sky is not my cup of tea, but I will always hold a different kind of respect for that game just for what they managed to do there.
Oh, I think a lot of gamers did. And there was honestly, like, I think there was that video that came out from No Man's Sky explaining like the kind of turmoil they were in the beginning, and kind of like their underdog story of where they are now. And I think a lot, I remember watching trailers of No Man's Sky to see if it was the game that I'd be interested to play. But when I looked at gameplay for it, I was like, this game just it's just not for me. It's not saying it's a terrible game. It's just the gameplay loops is just something that I'm not interested in.
Isn't it kind of funny that right now, as it is right now, No Man's Sky is more Star Citizen than Star Citizen?
uh yeah, yeah. Like, it's Star Citizen to me is a weird one. I I don't follow that project at all. I know friends of mine in the guild that have backed it. Um I
Yeah, like when it comes to Kickstarter projects, Ashes of Creation is like the elephant in the room, whereas Star Citizen is more like a, I don't know, like a kraken in the room.
Yeah, because it's been there for over 10 years. And the thing is that, like, from what I've heard, it's the continuous scope creep and just how massive that game was even at its inception, and how big they were wanting to go even afterward. And again, I feel like, I don't know. I really don't like talking about Star Citizen because
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah. Star Citizen was like me after I got to know about Ashes, just kept getting bigger and bigger, if you know what I mean.
yes, I do. I mean, because at the same time, I remember the whole thing when Ashes launched. It was around the same time Chronicles of Lyria was also kind of launching on Kickstarter as well.
You mean Kingdoms of Valyria?
Yeah, like oh god. Like, so I remember, especially back then, people were thinking Ashes was a scam because they thought, Illyria was a scam, and Illyria was a scam. Ashes is clearly not a scam. So, like, they have paid people, paid employees. Like, it's happening. They've been showing us time and time again what's been happening. But even if you compare that to, let's say, Pantheon, that also looks like a project that doesn't really appeal to me at all either. I hope and I wish him the best. I don't like
I never
shitting.
really followed Pantheon all that much.
I've seen 2 live streams from them, and I just think that they are way further along. Or I'm sorry, not further. They are way further from releasing than I think Ashes is. I think
They're way
Ashes,
behind.
yes, they're way behind. I mean, I think they're, from what they keep showing, at least in the 2 live streams, and even the kind of sentiments, is like it's very bare bones, very bare bones.
Hmm.
So I guess, Dante, to kind of wrap up our conversation, it's kind of already hard to believe we've been talking for an hour, but I really appreciate that your internet connection stayed live the entire time and we didn't get cut off.
Oh, it wasn't my internet connection that was the issue. It was the
Oh,
electricity.
the electricity. That's right. But yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. But I
Yeah,
guess,
me too, man.
yeah. So to kind of just wrap things up, like, what are you most looking forward to for Ashes of Creation?
Being in a guild where we tackle some of the hardest content in the world, as in the world of Vera,
Right.
and just doing raids, doing all the top tier dungeons, getting stronger, and eventually, being like some of the best players, not only in our server, but in Ashes of Creation in general. I mean, wouldn't it be great? I mean, for me, it would be great if if like the world first clear of a particularly hard dungeon or raid came from our Asian server, and for my name to be a part of that, like I was one of the DDs, like damage dealers, DPSs, who did that. That's the kind of thing. So in short, I would say it's the glory that I'm looking forward to the most. The glory.
That's a very good answer, because I know, for being so single player minded, coming from WoW, or even Lost Ark, a lot of MMOs now just feel so single player in nature, even though they're touted as an MMO. That's what I look forward to the most. That's why I joined
Yeah,
Axiom.
yeah. Like and like one of the major things about being an MMORPG is like being a part of something greater than yourself, like the guild, or
Right.
even the server,
Yeah,
or
and
in the case of Ashes, even your node.
it that's what I love too, is that the multiplicative nature of, like, you feeling like a cogwheel in a very large machine.
Hmm.
And I love that. I love the fact that also too, we're probably just going to be an adventurer in Vera. Like, in most games, you are the chosen one, you are the god of our universe, and you're the savior, and da 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 da.
Yeah, I don't like that in MMORPGs.
Yeah, no, I'm kind
Like
of
in
tired of that trope.
MMORPGs, what I want to do is I want to grab my lube and I want to be the most well lubricated cog. You thought I was going somewhere else, weren't you?
No, not for a second, Dante. Not for a second.
All right, I'll believe you.
Oh man. Well, Dante, dude, thank you so much for having this chat with me and
Hey,
orchestrating.
thank you for having me here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Like I said, I try to do my best to bring people content, and I know you've reached out to me multiple times, and I know our time difference was an issue, but I'm really glad I woke up early. We did it. We had our talk. And hopefully again, like are you going to play Alpha 2 when it launches, or are you
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have Alpha 2, so it entirely depends on my 1060. If it's still alive and breathing, sure, I'll play Alpha 2.
Perfect. So that way, once we're like maybe a month or, you know, however long in testing that, we'll have another conversation to see like what you're doing, how you're enjoying
I'd
it,
love to.
you know, kind of go into all of that stuff. So I'll look forward to that. But Dante, thank God your electricity was able to hold out. We had our talk, and thank you again for having this conversation with me.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it, man.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys enjoyed it, you know, hit that thumbs up button, hit the like, subscribe to my channel for more 1v1 content. I always try to bring you guys various people around the world and, you know, have conversations about MMOs and especially Ashes of Creation. So hit up Vlhadus Gaming. Thank you so much for watching. That is Dante. I am Vlhadus, and we will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.